running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking in Ovals. How's everybody doing out there on this Thursday, July 17, 2025? Yes, we're not here on a Monday. We had, guests lined up. People had to back out. Things happened. But we do have a guest tonight. And if you haven't noticed, right now it's just me. Dave got new. Oh, here he is. Are you here, Dave?
What's up? I'm here.
Dave's here. So he was having technical difficulties before.
It was.
But he's here. He looks like everything's crisp. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. What up, Hyatt?
Yes.
How are you?
I would just want to give a huge shout out to my fiance. This new setup that I have behind me was all her. She did an amazing job. I'm trying to get a few more pieces to try to represent every place that has kind of molded me into this wonderful sport. I just thank you, Tina. Thank you for everything. You're just amazing. Like it looks fantastic. I'm just pumped.
Yep. So I'm happy that you made it. I'm happy that you worked through your stuff. You are just,
Let's do
it's
this.
interesting. You're just kind of ahead. We need to rise you up, I think, at some point. We got to get you
I
a
know.
taller stool. But
I know.
okay. Happy that you made it. It's always good to have you here. Wherever you're watching from, whether it's X, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Like, share, follow, subscribe, do all your due diligence. If you're listening to this later via podcast form, 5 stars is the only rating you're allowed to give. If not, we're going to send Dave's technical difficulties to you, and it will be miserable for your life.
Yes.
But I just want to give a shout out because you informed me that the whole Gone Running coaches crew basically watches or listens to our show. So first, I just want to say what up to the Gone Running crew. You guys are incredible. And I want to say thank you for listening, it means the world to just have a crew of people that are out there constantly listening to us.
Anybody listen to
anyone listening. And it makes what we do so much more fun when we know that other people are getting enjoyment out of it. We're going to do it anyway, but it does make it a little bit better. So we appreciate all of you. So last week we talked to Tilly O'Connor, Villanova, current athlete over there, just an absolute awesome person. She had great things to say about leadership and stepping up. She's going to be a junior over there with all the expectations that comes with it. Talked about the mental side of things too. And it was just a really, really good show. I highly recommend everybody go back and listen to it and go track Tilly O'Connor's career because you want to talk about future national champ written all over it right there. That she's going to be there. So I'm excited. But speaking of national champions,
yes,
we have one on tonight and we are pumped to bring him on, and even more pumped because he's someone that, I wanted to get him on potentially in the future. And then, like I said, just so happened a few of our guests kind of popped in and out on us, and he was awesome enough to step right in. So let's bring him on in right now. He is Matti Erickson. He is the 2025 indoor 800 meter national champion from the University of Oregon. He is a Nike athlete, NIL recipient, just all around awesome dude. What's up, Matti?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you jumping on. Like we said, Dave and I were ready to go solo. And then I was like, you know what? I just asked Matti Erickson to come on. And then you were like, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, let's see if he can come on Thursday. Let's do this. And you popped in. So it worked out so awesome. So we appreciate it. 100% you jumping in. It's so, Darren Peters hinted to this right away. And we're going to talk about this right off the jump because you being a current athlete, you being someone that is in the thicket of the sport right now. This is one of your peers in the sport. We just got the news coming down. As Darren over here said, Rupa Chepngetich in the news, and not for good reasons, right? She is the world record holder in the marathon for women. First woman ever to run sub 2:10, which is insane, a 2:09 and change. It just came out that she has a provisional ban for doping. But the thing is that's crazy is they found her taking the agent that masks the doping. So it's not necessarily that they found the illegal substances, but they found enough of it that she's masking, and it's never good. And the whole story was wishy-washy. Like they caught her back in March with the test.
Now
she decided to do her own provisional ban to serve it herself. In April, they said they found more of it, and then they officially just came down with the ban. So it's a weird thing. I wish that they would be a little more upfront with these tests. I feel like we should have known about this in March. So real quick, Matti, what's your opinion on this whole situation going on right now?
sucks for sure. I mean, she's someone that our group had been talking about, because anytime that's a world record goes down in the marathon, it's like you are, just making waves in the running community. I feel like whether you run sprints, middle distance, probably throws even, I would assume, like you'll probably hear when a world record goes down. So she was a superstar earlier. When was this world record set? Was it last fall?
It was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And so pretty recently, I remember I think she's from a similar area to where one of my teammates is from. And so he was telling me that she had, I think, skipped the Olympics in prepping for Chicago, where she ran the world record. So she was in great shape, ready to roll. And great day for her, but obviously tainted by some positive tests, which never want to see at all. And you said it's a masking agent, right?
Correct. So, and that's the thing too. Yeah,
that's what I read. It was like way over the limit of a diuretic that you're supposed to have in your system.
They gave the numbers, and like I have no idea what the numbers mean. Like there was like 3,200 MAU. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like it's like when you look at the vitamin bottles and it's like gives you like the different things. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, but they gave that, and it's like the thing that bothers me with this is, we've had on, Aaron Spider Brown, and he's big on TikTok, and he has been someone that has openly said, like, if they're great, they're probably doping, and I don't necessarily believe that. But man, things come down the pike like this, and it's like, how from the outside looking in, between, we had Marion Jones back in the day. We had, everybody knows Flojo used. Like people love Flojo. Flojo used. Tyson Gay and things like that. Like we've had so many of these great athletes, and now it has fallen more into the what was it last year? Last year they came down. What is it, like a bunch of Kenyans and stuff like that? Had to be like, there was a bunch that came down for that. So it hurts our sport. And you being someone, Matti, that is coming up the ranks and, really starting to hit your stride, and, you just dipped under the world standard, right? So it's like, you're coming into this world. What does that feel for you as somebody who's trying to do it right? And seeing that, and like, now people may sit there and, if you go run a 141, people may sit there and doubt Matti Erickson. Is he clean now? Like, how much does that suck?
My approach is always like, and if you ask all my friends, maybe it's to a fault, but I always believe it's like innocent till proven guilty. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like all these athletes that go out and blast like great results, that doesn't really raise red flags for me, because I know guys who have made huge jumps in a pretty short amount of time, that have run super fast times, who I know aren't doping, or at least when I was training with them or was affiliated with them, I knew they weren't doping. So it's like, if they can do it, like, why can't other people? You know what I mean?
And we know
so that's how I see it.
We know the difference, like a minor tweak in training, right?
Sure.
Or a new coach can do, right? A different philosophy coming in. We just had Sinclair Johnson on a few weeks ago, and
she's running great now.
Yeah, and she left to go and be coached by her fiance. And look what she did. She just ran the second fastest time in her 1500. She's ready to go run Diamond League.
1K was the second fastest time in American history.
Her 1K was incredible, right? Yep. So it's like, there's that minor changes that can do that for athletes. So, I like your approach. Let's find out that they're innocent. Like, as long as they're not going and join the enhanced games, then I'm pretty cool with them, right? Like, if they're doing that, then maybe
that's a crazy thing too, man. That's nuts.
I mean, it is wild. So I just want to get your opinion on that. Hyatt, do you have anything to say about this?
It's a shame, obviously when I was growing up, it was much more in the sprinter realm. Now it's kind of encompassing more on the distance side. It's bad to say, but I don't know if we'll ever catch up with what's new and things out there. So it's just something that I think that we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on and just kind of see where it goes. I mean, I get why people do it. A lot of people, that's their only chance to ever make it in this world out of certain countries and stuff. So I understand the pressure to do it. I don't like it. It sucks. I would like to see everyone run as clean as they can, but it's part of our sport, and let's hope that it's definitely way better than it has been. I feel, like there's a lot more cleaner athletes now than there's ever been. So let's just kind of hope that it can all rectify itself.
And I'll say this, it's a part of every sport, right? Like it's a part of every single sport. There's the whole phrase, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Like, listen, that came from somewhere. So it's like, it's a part of every sport. Back in 1999,
if you're playing baseball, you're taking steroids because you're going to get paid so much more money if you hit 45 home runs rather than hit 20 home runs. It's it's the lure to be great, and I understand it. I don't like it, but there's really nothing that we can do sitting here.
I mean, in football, they take cortisone shots to just
Sure.
not feel anything. Like, you're telling
Yeah.
me a cortisone shot isn't enhancing? Like, come on now. So it's like, it happens. It's a thing. I'm happy we're with an athlete that doesn't do that though, and that he's awesome and he's going to be great. And
Yes.
I want to dip into that though, because Darren Peters coming in with another awesome comment, saying Rift Valley is where Ruth is from, and saying we have to talk about the promotion to Tracktown USA for Oregon runners and how helpful it is for you to be comfortable telling your story. And we're going to get into that now, Darren, because listen, you've seen our podcast enough. We're going to dive into Maddie's story. So,
Oh yeah.
I want to jump in and I want to ask you the same question we ask all of our guests. When did you get the spark to officially want to chase running? Not necessarily when you started, but when did you get the spark? Because I also want to, let everyone know you're from Canada. Canada plays hockey, right? We had Daniel Yetman on a few weeks ago, and it's funny because he's a jumper, and he even said, he's like, I played hockey for 13 years. Like, it's your national sport. It's what goes on. There's hockey, there's soccer, there's curling. Like, there's some other sports that are done there in Canada. So when did you decide running was going to be your thing, and how many years did you play hockey? I think they're both relevant.
Yeah. So I'll start with, I played a lot of sports growing up. Even when I
Sure.
knew that I wanted to be a runner, I was still hockey from 5 till 8th grade, maybe something like that. I
That's
skied
awesome.
in the winter as well. I played basketball in high school, played on the academy soccer team. I just had a lot of interest outside of running, and I tried to do that through, first couple of years of high school. Once I got into the later half, it was probably more focused on running. But I'd say that I knew that I wanted to run from pretty early age. My first season of ever running track, I was 10 years old. And the first track meet of the year was in like late May or something like that. Had no idea what I was doing. Me and my dad just went out to the meet. But then I had some pretty good results there. My dad was like, let's try and see what else you want to do, or other meets you want to do that season. And so the only issue was for me to go from my hometown to literally any other track meets close to me was like minimum like 8 hours of driving.
Yeesh.
So
Yeah,
it
I
was,
think people don't realize how big Canada and like vast
Massive.
Canada is, right? Like,
yeah. Also,
it's
I'm just in a pretty rural area. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like where I'm from, it's a pretty small ski town. For anyone that's listening, Nelson, British Columbia is where I grew up. So it's in the Kootenays. It's
I could pretend to know
3
where that
hours,
is.
3 hours north of Spokane.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
So southeast British Columbia,
Gotcha.
but in the mountains. And yeah, no track in my hometown. Grew up just doing laps on soccer fields. Lots of soft surface training.
So do you see Americans as spoiled that like almost every high school at least has a track or something like
Yeah.
that? Like Hyatt doesn't. He's over in
Nope.
Manasquan, New Jersey.
We have a
He has a
250.
250-meter J for a track.
stop.
Like,
Right.
would you
right,
have
right.
taken that back in high school, at least like a J?
Yeah, you're taking it.
For sure. Like when I see high schoolers that have access to like beautiful 400-meter like Mondo tracks or just stadiums in general with, track specific weight rooms. And a big one for me was actually just having a high school track team. I grew
Right,
up with a high school coach that was really good, but our team was always super small. It was maybe 4 guys at the most, 5 guys. And so I did a lot of solo workouts, a lot of solo runs, and definitely was a little bit jealous knowing that people in Oregon, California, Texas, not having to deal with the lack of support, and also having the weather was another
weather,
big
right.
one. We got a
But
lot of snow in the winter, and so
yeah.
duking it out on the treadmill for 4 months out of
Sure.
the year was
but looking
a
back,
mental battle.
but I mean, looking back, do you feel that kind of helped shape you and kind of made you tougher because like you didn't have all those things? So now, like when you have things, like you take nothing for granted. Like what it's like to train in like you can train anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I pride myself on understanding like where I came from and not letting where I'm at now overwhelm me or change my foundations. You know what I mean? Like now I'm at the University of Oregon. I went from my senior year of high school doing loops on a 400-meter grass soccer field to literally that fall. Now I was training in Hayward Field every day with
Hayward Field, right?
infinite access to whatever medical treatments or physio or coaching I need.
looking up and probably seeing pictures of like Pre and Andrew Weeding and Cole and like
Exactly.
it's
All
like
these
all
people
those
that I
people, the
looked up to.
legends. Yeah.
Entrowitz.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
Centro.
Yeah. People that I idolized growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew like a mix of the lack of access hardening me a little bit. Also, just who I grew up with. My dad is. I always say he's pretty similar to what I imagined Bill Bowerman was like. You know, hard nosed. He's a faller. He falls for a living. So big bushman. You know, I send photos to Jerry every summer because when I go back, my dad has me splitting firewood. Like we don't have a furnace in our house or a heater or anything. It's just all it's wood heated, firewood heated.
So
And
the
so
best athletes
Hard
go
work,
home
man.
and like,
Hard work.
but they like go home and don't do their sport. It's like you look at Nikola Jokic, like he goes home and he like freaking horse races and bets, right? Like
yeah,
there
I
was
mean, I'm still
famously Madison
yeah.
Bumgarner went back and tended a freaking farm. Like he didn't do a baseball at all. It's like obviously running, you have to run, but it's not
Yeah.
like
Right.
you're sitting there and going like, I gotta go and do this weight program. It's like, no, me splitting wood's probably better than any squat and bench program I could possibly do, right? Like that is a full body workout, and your dad's probably like, go faster. Like that's awesome, dude.
You know, yeah, I'm all for sport specific stuff during the year, but there is a time and a place just to you know, when you're on your break taking 2 to 4 weeks off of
100%.
running, it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to be an athlete for 6 weeks out of the
Nope.
year. Like when I'm done with this track season in September, I am forgetting that I had a track season. I'm going back home. I'm probably splitting 10 to 12 cords of firewood over the course of
That's
3 weeks.
insane.
Yeah.
You know, and just being an adolescent, not an adolescent, you know, a young 22-year-old. You know, I have
Yeah.
endeavors outside of running
Sure.
that I like to attend to, and so that's what I'll be doing when I'm done.
Yeah.
That's
I
fantastic.
tell every kid that I coach at the end of spring track, like on your time off, you're not an athlete anymore. You're a high school kid. Go and just have fun. Do the stuff that we wouldn't let you do during the season. Go have fun and then bring it back. And when it's time to come back, come back. But like kids, and you're right, like it can't be all the time. There has to be some sort of break.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. You know, the best athletes that I know do a really good job at balancing like turning on when they're an athlete and then turning on off when they're not. And so whether it's in between training sessions or in between seasons, being able to adjust accordingly so that when you come back to running, you're not super burnt out and still like fried from the last season.
Yeah, it's like
100%.
in you know, you spend your whole college career saying, I can't go to that party. And you're like, I can go. I can actually go now. I don't have
Exactly.
any need. I'm in between seasons. Let's go.
It's like I don't have to go drink, but I can at least go enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah,
Right? Like
you
I
can
can
do
go and
whatever you
hang
want.
out with people that's not my track team, even though it's more than likely a track party anyway. But
Or in the off season, have a few drinks if you want.
But coach,
That's okay
he
too.
doesn't do any of that, okay? He
No,
doesn't
no.
do any of that, coach. So, do you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder because as you look around and you're seeing a bunch of like, you know, these Americans that had all these facilities, all these places, some of them coming from like major schools in California,
Sure.
Washington, Texas, and Oregon. It's all around the country, right? And Oregon gets to pick a litter and they go, you know, if the best in the state calls you to go to Oregon and you're the best distance runner, you're probably going, right? So
Yeah,
you
right.
have a little bit of a chip there. And do you almost make fun of some of these guys when they're just like hurting and you're just like, dude, I ran on a grass track. Get up. Like, are you looking at some of the
Get
freshmen
home,
like,
chop some wood, and let's
get up now? Like,
go.
I don't know. It's hard to judge, you know what I mean? Like each person has their own individual upbringing and then just being able to adjust to optimize that specific upbringing is how you do it. So it's hard for me to judge
yeah,
others, but you know, I try and relate to them if I can. Everyone goes through adversities in
100%.
high school or middle school or whenever they start running or just in life in general. And so yeah, when I have guys come on the team, it's not so much, you know, taking pity or anything like that. Like, oh, look at what I had to go through to get here versus like you had the red carpet rolled out. It's more just, you know, trying to get to where they're coming from and help them as much as possible. You know, this is going to be a pretty special team here the next few years that Jerry's putting together, especially on the distance side and middle distance side. And so I'm just trying to do my part to be a team player and help the guys coming in.
I can imagine how
Love it.
humbling it is as a freshman going into Oregon, though, because it's like national champion, you know, high school record holder and stuff. Then you get there and you look and you're just like, I'm quite literally possibly the slowest kid on this team. And it's like, that's got to
Yeah.
be really
Everyone is a
humbling.
stud.
And
Everyone is
yeah,
a
and there's
state
like,
champ. everyone
there's a
is
few
just
programs
the
around the
best of the best.
country that are like that, and Oregon has been like that quite literally my whole life. Like where it's like
Yeah.
it's I had so we had a guest on our show, Ian Hahn, and he went to Penn State after, and when I was still in high school while he was over there. And he came back during a summer and we were training together and stuff because, the cool college kid helping out his alma mater, right? And, I was talking to him and he said, hey, best bit of advice when you go run in college. My coach came to me and came to all of us and said, high school kids always come in here thinking they've done something, but then you realize you haven't done ish. And he's like,
Exactly.
just get in line, listen to your seniors and your juniors, do what you're told. And it's like, and it's true. And it's such like a smack.
Yeah. I feel like I actually had a really big taste of that where because I was growing up like such a rural area, so unaffiliated with track. Like I had a sense of the track world outside of BC and outside of Canada, but to get a taste for it in real life is so different. I went from middle school, high school, winning a lot of races, provincial championships, U16, national titles.
Yeah.
For what I felt like I had run pretty decent times in high school. It was 353 and 150 in the 8.
It's pretty good.
But I came into Oregon and I knew that it was going to be this way. Like maybe I had a little bit more insight, insight than others. But I came onto a team that had Cole Hawker, who had just been at the Olympics that summer.
Yeah.
Cooper Tier, who had just won the 5K national title. Charlie Hunter, who was an 800-meter Olympian.
Monster.
Matt Wisner, who had run like 146 at the time. Jackson Messler, who was a vet. Jack Urian. Luis Peralta. The list goes on. And it was like, I swear to you, I was probably the worst person on the team for like 3 months when I first got there, just because I'd just come off of the World Junior Championships. And so I had like no summer base and we had just got right into like cross country training. And it was like, I'm doing sessions where my threshold paces are probably more like 5:20. And Cooper was rolling like 4:30s in some of his sessions.
Insane.
It was like, what? And so, yeah, my freshman year, my coach was Ben Thomas, who was here at the time. And he always split up training so that we had an A group, a B group, and a C group.
Yeah.
A group was like the top guys that were running cross and just your seniors. The C group was the freshmen and the middle distance guys that couldn't handle that threshold stuff. And I was out the back of every single session for like so long. It was so humbling. You know what I mean? Like every single session I just lined up and was ready to dig my grave because I'd be working as hard as I can and still be out the back like so early.
But
was there ever any
Go ahead, Dave.
Was there ever any doubt like I can't do this, or was it just I know I can do this. I just have to keep biding my time. Things will turn. And how were the other like seniors around you? Like, were they full of encouragement? Hey, like this is just how it is. Keep going, keep going. Like, was there any time where you were like, I don't know if I could do this anymore?
Yeah, not really. I feel like I'm pretty headstrong.
Good.
And I'm able to stay in my lane quite a bit. And the thing was, I was still laying down a fall that was better than I ever had. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the best I've been training my entire life. And based on past results, like I know if I can just stay consistent and lay down a good fall, like I will have good results in the spring. It just takes some time. So it never really fazed me that much. The big thing for me was just staying healthy the whole time. As long as I could
100%. Yeah. It's because that's an upgrade in training, right?
Away. Yeah. I know it's so easy your first year in college just to pick up a bone injury or some sort of other health issue because, you're living away from home for the first time. You're cooking for yourself for the first time. You're taking on college courses.
Probably staying up later than you should.
Yeah, exactly. You're making freshman year decisions. Yeah. Probably not the most optimal way to be training if you're trying to run well. But, I was able to stave off the injury bug for the most part and stay consistent. And yeah, the seniors that were there were, helping me through, like giving me advice and whatnot. Definitely by the time the winter hit and I started running decently indoors, then it was like, all right, this kid's like pretty legit. And so then they're putting a little bit more time into me.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because like number one, you don't know which freshman's going to quit. And obviously I could imagine like, when you get selected to go to Oregon as a freshman, some of them probably come in with big heads and things like that. And then they get smacked down. It's like, I'm going to transfer. It's like, that happens a lot. It happens a lot when anyone goes to these major schools. So I could imagine that like you would like be friendly, but it's like, okay, everyone works hard in XC and they figure it out. Let's see what happens when we get into winter season. And,
Yeah.
then that's when and I know that's what we did at Marist, right? That was a big thing. It was like the big bonding session was the winter intersession when everyone came back, when the sprinters were starting to get involved, the throwers, the jumpers, and things like that. And that's when the freshmen really came into the fold. Like, you were
Yeah.
friendly and stuff like that, but it was like, okay, they're here. They're here. They're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. And, still some of them dropped, but for the most part, that was the group that you were sticking with. And I mean, that's cool. And especially it had to be pretty cool with the seniors, like, that you were working with and stuff, for them to start investing some time. Now, did that kind of show you the type of leader that you wanted to be for other freshmen coming in that maybe were in a similar situation to you?
Yeah, I'd say so. I guess a part of it was like they were so much older than us when I came in. Like, our seniors were 5th and 6th years for the most part.
Yeah.
And pretty much after my first year, all the 5th and 6th years left, plus Ben left. And we were left with a team that was just super young. I my sophomore year, I was 19 turning 20. And I was one of the guys with some of the more experience in the NCAA on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't
wild.
really prepared to be a leader on the team at the time, but maybe I didn't really get thrown into it. It's just there wasn't much leadership, I guess, at that time. With Jerry coming in,
That's tough.
no one knew the system. Everyone
Mhm.
was super young. I don't think that we had maybe we had one true 4th year on the squad at the time, like super young team. So it just took time. There was a transition period. Those first couple of years weren't the prettiest. The athletes and Jerry were both kind of just figuring each other out and figuring out what works.
Yeah.
But I feel like over the course of the years that he's been here now, got a good system figured out. The leaders who've been here have stepped up, and it's for the best.
What's the switch to the Big Ten been like? Were you there when did you come in when it was still Pac-12 or whatever the hell the Pac was? And, because obviously football has changed so much with the conferences. Like, it's made such a ripple with the major conferences. So what has it been like for you starting off there? And now obviously the travel schedule is very different, right? Because the Pac-12, Pac-10 was still very much a West Coast thing, where now you're going Great Lakes, you're going to New Jersey, you're going like, that has to suck sometimes, right? Like, cool, right? But also crappy with the jet lag and things like that. So how's that been like, jumping into the Big Ten and like the travel and everything included?
Yeah. So this has been our first year. Like, this last academic year was the first year in the Big Ten.
Mhm.
And honestly, it didn't really change that much.
That's good.
Track is like so individual.
Yeah, track
in the
is definitely
regular
different.
season. Like, you as almost as an individual get to choose wherever you want to go. Like, Jerry set up our season so that we went to Boston a couple times. We went to Arkansas a couple times. And we would have done that whether we were in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten.
Correct.
You know what I mean? The big shift was having a conference indoor meet. This was the first year that Oregon had that in, I would assume, Oregon's history.
That's crazy. That is wild to think about, because it's such a major
Yeah.
thing in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, we would always just go to Boston for the last chance meet, or just go up to Seattle for a last chance meet, because we just didn't have a conference meet, right?
Mhm.
So that was a big shift, and I loved it. That was my first collegiate indoor conference meet. That might have been the most fun meet of the year. Like, the
It gets loud.
atmosphere,
It gets loud in those
crazy.
indoor. Yeah, it's fun.
Plus, like, it's a huge meet because there's 18 teams in the conference. So
And
all the
then
fans,
they're
all the
good.
parents,
You have
all
some
the
good
teams.
groups in that Big Ten
Yeah.
now, especially with that
Very
smorgasbord
good.
board.
You got Washington in there, man, and their milers.
so good.
It's the additions for track and field, because obviously I'm a Rutgers guy, so we haven't even been in there for that long. But the addition of the West Coast teams has been very good for a track. But because, like Maddie said, like, track, you would have gone to these meets anyway on the East Coast for their indoor tracks. It's not like basketball when I was watching Rutgers play Oregon on a Tuesday out on the West Coast and have a game on Thursday back in New Jersey. Like, that's when it gets crazy.
yeah.
But I feel like track, like for like track, like you're going to go to these, there's only a certain amount of indoor tracks that you go to anyway, or outdoor tracks. So it's kind of like, but I guess it would be hard if, say, your conference meet was at Rutgers.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of, then it's
We still had to go out to Indiana this year, which was a bit of a travel trip.
Yeah.
Especially like 2 weeks before NCAA's, which was in Virginia. And 2 weeks before that, we were in Arkansas. So it was like back to back to back, like kind of cross country travel. But you know, I loved it. You know, it was a long indoor season, but
Yeah.
if I'm being completely honest with you, like I wouldn't have even been at NCAA's if it wasn't for the conference meet. That's where I qualified, like super last second.
That's
Wow.
awesome. So
You know,
great.
and you know, years and years, like Oregon's come to the East Coast. I mean, they're at Penn Relays
yeah.
every year, so it's not like it's that uncommon of a thing for them to travel. It's just probably added more travel. And again, but you do now have a conference meet. So the Pac-12 never had a conference meet?
No, it was always just some sort of invitational. It was like a like quasi conference meet, I guess, that would be held at UW every year. But it wasn't an official conference meet just because we just didn't have one. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know what the ruling
And
was.
if it's at UW, then it's all oversized times anyway.
Yeah. And so we tried to stay away from UW this year just because there were some athletes on the team that were trying to bump up the world ranking points, and when you're running at UW, like that doesn't count. So
it makes sense. It makes complete and total sense. So I kind of want to go a little backwards because we skipped into Oregon, which I'm fine. I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
But I want to go backwards with you because one thing we love to get is we love to talk about your favorite memories of running.
Yeah.
So take us into the Wayback Machine. Start when you were 10 and when you first started, and give us your favorite memories about, you know, running as a 10-year-old, middle school, high school, college, and, you know, everything in between.
Yeah. So I started, the first few memories are just of me and my dad. You know, he's someone that's almost as invested into this sport as I am in terms of like the success I've had in my career. Because for 8 years there, from when I was 10 to when I was in high school, it'd just be the two of us, or the two of us and then my coach kicking it in the truck, driving down to these meets. So maybe one story I'll tell from when I was young. I was 10 years old. So think about this. You're 10 years old, go from Nelson to where was it? Surrey, BC, which is like a 9-hour drive. We leave at like 4 p.m. in the afternoon because I had a baseball game, I think, that day. So we leave after the game, drive halfway, sleep in the back of a truck on like a blow up air mattress, just in some like parking lot halfway down the road.
As a 10-year-old,
wake up in the morning, do the rest of the trip down to Surrey. And that day was some invitational meet, but my dad was putting all this pressure on me because there's this list. It's the BC under 14 provincial records, and it goes year by year, like 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. And so I was going after the men's 600 meter 10-year-old provincial record. Super arbitrary when you look back.
Awesome.
It's very specific. Very specific.
At the time, I was like, this is literally my equivalent of a world record. You know what I mean? Like, if I could get this, which I ran, I think like 147 that day, which was like 5 seconds faster than I ran the rest of the year do it. And like,
must have been the air mattress.
Yeah, definitely. All that clean air that
already
in. But
I will say
so it was just.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Maddie. No, you go.
I was just going to say that, like, yeah, all those memories with my dad, just like us bonding, like definitely is what stands out a lot. That's for sure.
I will say this, from everything I've heard about Canadians, I've always heard the people from British Columbia and Saskatchewan are just built different. Like, you guys are just built different over there. Like, out of everyone else, out of like Ontario, Ottawa, everything, like you guys are built different, which is awesome. And it shows, right? Your hard work. So give us some more. So that's your 10-year-old. What about any other cool memories that you've had as a runner?
Yeah. Going through high school, the first time I represented my country. So it was COVID for during 2020, 2021, my senior year of high school. A lot of stuff was shut down, and so I didn't really have much of a high school season. But that summer, I like was hurt in the spring, wasn't running that well, wasn't very fit, but just knocked out like a last second, literally like the last day to qualify for the World Under 20 Championships. I think that was where I ran 150.1 to like just barely hit the standard. I think I was like the number 2 guy in Canada. So the two of us went to Nairobi, Kenya was where the championships were.
Wow.
So first national team, I'd never even been outside of North America at that point. And so for my first country to be, Nairobi, Kenya was a super fun experience. Really awesome being able to represent Canada.
They
kind of just get a taste
for.
Oh man, I'm telling you, this meet was like nothing I've ever seen.
It's
specifically, it was
that's awesome.
Kenya versus Ethiopia in pretty much every event, because all those all those under 20 East Africans are like
Oh yeah.
built different. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah,
And then
they
you
are
just
built
throw some
different.
Morocco in there. Every once in a while, there's a
yeah,
Moroccan
exactly.
that's in there, like a 2 or 3 of them. Like, those are the 3 countries that are really battling always. Like, the
Yeah.
Kenyans and Ethiopians have, like, 3 or 4 each, and then there's, like, a Moroccan or 2 that just fits their way right in there.
Yeah, actually, so at that meet, it was Emmanuel Wanyoni, the Olympic
Really?
800 champ. He won the
Oh,
under
yeah.
20 title that year, and he
Jeez.
ran faster than the Olympic final. It was like 143
That's
low for the win,
insane.
and he was like 16 or
He's
17
oh
at
my
that
god.
time.
Yeah, he's so good,
So it was
man.
like, okay, I saw that. I was like, okay, I gotta step my game up.
I got and the thing is, like, you're running 150 off of, like, as good a training as you possibly can do. So, is something like that did that also give you the confidence knowing, like, if I get a real track, if I get some more like, more athletes, not even just, like, better training, but if I have a training group of athletes near my level that I can run with, the sky's the limit for me? Was that kind of another, like, piece of, if I get to Oregon or I get to somewhere
Sure.
big, I'm not letting that go?
100%. Yeah, it's like I feel like I could see like really low hanging fruit where I could easily improve. Like I'd seen
Yeah.
some success in high school, but having access to a track to train on every day, having access to
Sure.
proper equipment to train with, having access to training
Yeah.
partners and, a high level coach. Those were all super low hanging fruit that is like, if I
Right.
just do exactly what I'm doing and add in those things, it's like you're going to get better.
So
And I guarantee, as a coach, Oregon was saying there might be faster kids here in the U.S., but we got a 150 kid training into nothing. His potential could be a lot higher than these guys. He might not have the actual times that they were in high school, even though 150 is ridiculous. But like, so kudos to them to be like, like this kid's untapped. Like he's got so much more that he can give. Like he's never run with anybody or trained with anybody. So kudos for them because 150 is good, but nowadays you'll have 20 kids run that in the US in high school. So kudos to them for saying like this kid's untapped. Like we see where he's from. Once we get him here, it's gonna be a whole new levels. And it sounds like you kind of felt that too. Like once I get there, the sky is the limit, and I'm just gonna
So,
take off.
what was it like? Was there a moment at all while you're at the U20 and then you kind of look down and you just see Canada across their chest? Was there a moment where you're just like really representing my nation? Like, was there like kind of that realization of like, this is legit? I'm really doing this. Like, how was
Yeah,
that?
definitely. Uh, I couldn't tell you when it was, but I do remember just being there and seeing not necessarily me representing Canada, but everyone else representing their countries. And it's like, wow, like this is an international event where like it's the best in the world essentially coming together
So cool.
to compete. And that was just such a cool feeling, being able to represent my hometown. Not no track athletes come out of my hometown, you know what I mean? And so to be able to represent my hometown, the province of British Columbia, Canada as a whole, it was a really cool experience. One fun story from that that meet, the warm up track in Nairobi. This is at Kasarani Stadium, which is like their national stadium where they normally hold the national championships. There's a practice track just maybe 200 meters to 300 meters from the stadium where you do your warm ups and whatnot. And what's his name? The former 3,000 meter world record holder,
Coleman?
Daniel Coleman, was there that
Wow.
day, just jogging around the
man.
track, doing like a little like easy jog.
That's
And I was like,
crazy.
oh my, this is insane.
Listen, Faith is always back there training too.
Yeah.
It's like they just train with everybody else.
But
Yeah,
their
he was
practice
there.
tracks are nicer than some of our main tracks over there. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it wasn't very. That was the other thing. Like I saw that, I was like, man, like these guys have a second track that is nicer than most tracks I've been racing on this year, and we can't even get a track in my hometown. You know what I mean? Like the closest track to me is 90 minutes away.
So is that a goal when you get like when you become a pro, really start getting the money raking in? Are you gonna just go build a friggin' track in your town and just be like, take a
Yeah,
track?
I've been thinking about it. We used to have a track in the hometown, but it got pulled out when they put the hockey facility in. Actually, it was where it was.
It makes
It
sense.
got
It
turned
makes
into a
sense.
parking lot.
Hockey.
But a part of the issue is just like you need a decent amount of land to put a track on. Like
You
it's
do.
quite a bit.
Sure.
It's a big area, and there's just not that much flat land in Nelson. It's the way that Nelson is. It's like two mountains coming in, and then there's a river that runs through the valley, and the town's kind of situated on the hillside. and so it's difficult to find
You'd
an
have to like carve out
area
part
to
of a
do it.
mountain and flatten it. I mean,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
view would be sick though.
It
That would
would
be
be
like
really cool
the
if you
most
could sort it out.
beautiful view of a track. Like, here, come racing this track on a freaking mountain. Like, that
Listen.
would be awesome.
Why don't you just do what Josh Ho did and just build a track at his house? Have you seen that
Yeah, I
that
actually
thing, the
have.
track
Yeah,
at his house? It's
I heard that they actually modeled it
freaking
off of the
awesome.
dimensions of Hayward also.
Really?
But
That-
yeah,
They did. Yep, it's exactly the same
Yeah.
dimensions as
Well,
which yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, I live on the lake actually, so like I'm right down in the valley, like right close to the lake. So I don't know if you could quite put a track there.
I mean, just drain the
But-
lake. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Just drain the lake and put a track there instead. I'm pretty sure your town will be cool with that.
put on spikes. No, put on spikes and just line the lake with lanes and just
Well, no, that lake is
work on the
probably when
lake.
that lake freezes over, how much hockey is played on it. Like,
Well, that's actually it's technically it's not a lake, it's a river. It's it flows
Okay.
into the Columbia eventually.
gotcha.
But it's slow moving enough that we call it a lake.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So,
Gotcha.
do you have any other memories? So, we went through 10, we went through high school. What about Oregon? Obviously, you have your national
Yeah.
championship and things like that. But what are some of your, if the national championship is it, that's obviously a great one. But what are your memories from Oregon?
I remember the first main one I had was just like a wake up call of seeing specifically Cole. He'd just come off the Olympics, and so I remember just seeing him like jogging around one day. Said hello to him, and I guess kind of starstruck, honestly, just because he had such a good year, and I was such a big fan. And so I was like, oh shoot, like this is a teammate of mine now. So that was a little wake up call. One of the better memories I have was my freshman year conference meet. We hosted Pac-12s in Eugene in Hayward.
Nice.
And I think that we won the men's title and the women's title, so it was a sweep. And it was our 15th straight on the men's side.
Oh my God.
And so I think I was third that day in the men's 8, which was like a big performance for me.
That's great.
And so it was like, yeah, good performance on my behalf. Like the team did really well. And so just that was a really good way to cap off that freshman year. And it was a
Scoring
really good memory.
points to win a conference meet is big, right? Especially as a
Yeah.
freshman. Like you
Yeah.
scored
Feels really
points, you
good.
helped it. That's really good stuff.
Yeah. And then after that, probably I always tell this story. Actually, I told it at nationals as well. But my sophomore year, I had some injuries in the winter, and so going into the spring, I just really wasn't that fit. But I really needed to run well because going into Oregon, also I was not on much scholarship at all, and I was hoping what I was promised was if I had run well my freshman year, I was going to get an increase, which did happen, and I was promised that increase. But then the whole staff left, and the new staff didn't honor that old staff's promise.
Oh man.
It wasn't their fault. I'm not blaming anyone. But what I mean, like, so that next year, my sophomore year was like, okay, now I got to really double down and make sure that I run well and prove myself so I can get on some money, help pay for classes. And did not have a good indoor season, had a very shaky start to the outdoor season. But last second, I think I've qualified for the regional meet, ran like 148.9, and I was like 45th or 46th in the regions, like barely scraped in. And then regionals that year was in Sacramento. And so it was like, if I want to, this is what Jerry had told me. It was like, if you want to get a scholarship increase, you got to make nationals. Like that's the minimum. And so I had that in the back of my mind. If I didn't get that increase, like maybe it was going to transfer or like,
wow.
I don't know.
And how different things would have been, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I had the race of my life in the first round of regionals. I PB'd by like a second and a half, I think, to run like 147 flat. And I was the top qualifier that day in the first round from the regionals. So it's like going into the next day, it's like, okay, I just got to pretty much replicate that and I should be good. And I ran a second PB. That was the first time I broke 147. I ran 146.8.
Yeah.
So I went from 148.9 to 146.8 in 2 weeks, essentially. Qualified for nationals.
There you go, Jerry. Where's my scholarship?
Well, no, the best part of that memory was immediately after I qualified for nationals, the first person I saw was a former teammate of mine, Karamia Messler. And her and I, like her brother is my roommate, Vinny, and we were classmates. And so him and I are good friends, which was mostly how I knew her. But she just came up to me, gave me the biggest hug, and we just like celebrated kind of by ourselves in the corner in Sacramento.
That's so cool.
You know, like all this like sense of relief and like just the craziest runner high. And like, yeah, that was a really special moment. And so
I'm enjoying the theme of your career so far. Like last second,
Yeah,
last
into
second. And the thing is, like, I feel like the thing with you
make
is
it count, man.
don't let me in. If you let me in, let me get in at that last second. I'm gonna make something of it, right? Because like you talk about, like if there wasn't a conference meet, I wouldn't have got the nationals, and obviously that made a big thing. I barely made it
Yeah,
into the world thing, and I got to do like, don't let Matty in. Like, do what you can to keep him out, because if he gets in, he's gonna be a problem. Like, I think that, and that's like such a cool. That again, that has to be another chip on your shoulder, right? It's like, you know what? Even if I'm an outlier, you let me in, it's going to be your mistake, right? And
yeah,
it's so
right,
cool.
Yeah.
That's so. Talk to me about that national championship
So
race
Matt,
real
okay.
quick.
right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, can you bring us through the winter season? Like, what were your goals going into it, and kind of how it all kind of transpired? Because winning a natty is
And
freaking
especially on that
awesome.
long,
So,
grueling
like,
indoor season in college, like it
yep,
matters. Like in pro, it's a little bit different in indoor, but the indoor college champion, like it's a long, grueling season, and
long.
Yeah,
it's a big indicator to how outdoor is going to go in a lot of ways. So,
yeah.
what was go Dave? Go through your indoor season
Uh,
and how that worked out.
Yeah.
I'll start it from. So I opened up my indoor season in Boston in December, like that first meet right after cross country. I had a really good fall. Also, my headphones about to die, so I'm gonna be on the
That's
computer
fine.
audio in about 2 or 3 minutes. But
That's okay. We'll make it work.
yeah, the whole goal of Boston was break 4 minutes. Like, we're going to Boston to break four. And I'd done a couple workouts where it's like, I'm probably in like 4 flat shape or maybe like just under.
Yeah.
But went there and got the job done. I ran like 3:59.2 that day or something like that. Um,
So you were one of the like 90 people who ran on that
The
magic
magic
carpet and
carpet's
broke.
so good.
That
yeah,
place is
yeah,
unbelievable,
it
right?
was,
That place is
It's
just
such a
everybody just runs
sponge.
fast. So you'll rate the college mile. It's like 78 people
yeah.
broke four today. That place
Actually,
is it's
I think
magic.
that day it
It's
was maybe
magic. That
like
place.
10 or 12 of us did it. 10 or
Okay.
12 collegians.
That's
It was a little bit of, it was more of like a 3K, 5K meet. That was the meet where Parker and Ethan went 7:30.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god.
okay.
Yeah, so
Great
it was
meet
like
there.
it was like 100 meets or 100 heats of the 3K. Uh,
Gotta love that.
but so once I did that, I was like, okay, like this is the first time where I'm seeing some positive progress in the strength stuff, which
Yeah.
is really what I do. I'm a strength based 800 guy. Even though I drop down to the 4 every now and then, and I'm not the best 1500-meter runner in the world, I run a decent amount of volume. And so when I saw that, and it was like, okay, that's a signifier that the strength stuff's working really well. And if I can just keep up my fitness through the indoor season, like good things will probably happen.
So is it
So
important for you to go
So I
out hard in the 800 knowing that you're going to be strong enough later? Like, is that something where, or like, what is that like? Because we hear a lot, like, and I think it's even been bigger, like kicking, right? Like more than
yeah,
usual. You have a lot of kickers, especially like you trained with Cole and stuff, right? Like Cole's a kicker. Um,
right.
For you, do you have that kick that you trust, or are you more of a get out hard, maintain,
grind
grind
it
it
out and
out,
just
be up
grind.
there, and go hard? Like, so what is like your strategy when you do that? Don't give away too much though. Your
Yeah,
rival, like the
I'd say
listener.
that my close is my strong suit. Something I pride myself is being able to run an 8 in a lot of different ways.
Nice.
Last year when I
Racing,
ran my
Sure.
PB, I
racing.
ran 145 last
Yeah.
year, and I went through in like 50.5 or something like that.
Okay.
This last
Yeah.
weekend in
Yeah.
LA, I ran 144 something, but I actually negative split. I went like 52.5 and then like
Wow.
52 flat. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I feel like I can run
Crazy.
800s like a lot of different ways, run a lot of different splits. But the one big thing that Jerry and I always emphasize is having a really good last 100. And so this indoor season, I feel like I highlighted that pretty well. At NCAA Outdoors, I feel like even though I didn't win the race, I had a good kick there. We emphasized that part of the race. Yeah,
I mean, and that listen, that happens, right? You can run the perfect race, and that's track and field, right? You can run
yeah,
the perfect race, but someone else also ran their perfect race, right? And it's like
exactly.
just that little bit. So, sometimes the race execution is a little more important than the result. Like in there, that's kind of where you
Yeah.
have to take it, right? Obviously, there's like that,
So
but
what was
yeah,
it?
go ahead, Dave.
What was it like? Like you're at the Nats, like going into that meet qualifying. Like, where were
Yeah.
you going into it qualifying wise, and how did it all kind of play out? Like, were there any things that kind of surprised you, or were you just kind of like, let's just get through each round, let's be safe, and then just let it go in the final? Like kind of maybe go through what that final race was like
Yeah.
from your perspective.
For indoors, you're saying?
For indoor, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I wanted to get to that. So I qualified for NCAAs, literally the last spot. I was 16th out of 16 athletes.
Don't let him in.
Don't let him in.
Actually, maybe hold on a second. I was 16th, but then there was a scratch, so I was 15th out of 16
Okay.
athletes. But yeah, like
Gotcha.
it's not like I didn't run a lot of 8s leading up to that. I knew that I was in shape to hit that. It was like 146.5, I think, because like 2 weeks prior to the conference meet, we went to the Arkansas DMR weekend, and I split like 145 low. I was like, okay, surely if I can run a good DMR leg, like
Yeah.
I can do this in a real race, which I did. Yeah, so I got in last spot to NCAAs. That was my first indoor meet at NCAAs, first time at indoor nationals, and so Jerry and I just talked about it being an opportunity. You know, I was in good shape. I felt like my racing tactics were really sharp at that time. I was just coming off a conference win.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hear
Sorry,
you.
can you guys
I heard
hear
it. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but you're good. You're perfect.
There we go. Yeah, sorry. AirPod just died.
That's all good. It's good.
So we just went in and it was like, let's see what we can do. I remember sitting in the airport heading to Virginia, and me and Elliot were talking, and he was just like, Maddie, like, what are you going to do when you win this weekend? Like, what are your plans? And we were kind of just laughing about it. But, you know, that was part of the expectation was like, yeah, I'm definitely not the favorite going in, but I trust the way that my buildup had gone. I really liked where I was fitness wise. So went into the first round, and honestly, that was probably the race I was most proud of this year, was that first round at indoor NCAAs. I ran like 146.1, just like gapped the field like crazy in the last 100 and kind of pulled up at the line and just felt really good. And so it was like, oh, I did that. And the way that indoors works is the prelim is on Friday, the final Saturday.
Next day.
So yeah, it's like take 24 hours. We'd been practicing doing like simulation of like a race then final back-to-back days. So I knew that I had the training to be able to handle a double like that. But yeah, that night, like I was a mix of like emotions just because I ran so well, and also I took so much caffeine so late in the day. Like I maybe slept like 2 hours the night before.
Jesus.
Before the indoor final. Just tossing and turning all night. And a part of it was I knew that like I had the opportunity to win. And it was such a big jump from where my expectations were just even a couple months prior. Like for me, it was my expectation going in was make the final. If I could do that, it was like, okay, hands up. Like that's awesome. That's a big jump for me. First NCAA All-American. But yeah, the way that things played out is like now I might be disappointed if I don't come at least top 3 based on how the heats were the day before. And so I remember lining up before the final, did my warm up with, I had Elliot run beside me just because I didn't want to be alone for the warm up.
Yeah.
And before, I just remember specifically before I had to go into the call room, Jerry looked at me and he said, like, today's the day. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to be a stone cold killer. Like, show no emotions out there. Just be emotionless and an assassin and just ready to roll, because like this is a really cool opportunity for you. I get chills just thinking about the moment. So I was like, holy shit. Okay. Like, here we go. I had a friend in the race, Abdullahi, who runs at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
He was in the final with me that day, and him and I are pretty good friends. So that I had some comfort there knowing that he was there with me. And then the final just flew by, honestly. Like that race, I remember hitting like 600 and having to take a double take. So I was like, wait, I thought we were at 400. Like that first 3 laps just flew by so quick. But I remember getting my head up with 200 to go, and there's kind of a break from Tenoda, the Georgetown runner.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I just got to cover this, because if I can move up on his shoulder and then swing by with 100 to go, something that Jerry and I had talked about is in indoors, because those corners are so tight and the straights are so short, move into the lead before the last corner. It's a lot easier to hold people off your shoulder than it is to try and push past them. And so that's really what I did. I moved with 150 to go to take the lead, and then I was just holding people off to the finish.
And Tenoda's a pretty strong runner too, right? And that's his strategy. Get out there, go. He's a fast runner.
Everyone in that field probably was on paper more of a favorite than I was. So it's like, I was going out there just like, yeah, everyone here is really good. You know, Aiden McCarthy ran the 3rd fastest time in collegiate history that season.
Yeah.
Abdullahi ran like the 7th or 6th fastest in indoor history. Tanoda ran, I think, 4th. Like all those guys were lights out this indoor season. Like having multiple people break 145 in an indoor season, I feel like it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
Very rare.
College,
very
yes.
rare. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, for me, it wasn't so much. It was like, yeah, they've run fast times, but how can you execute on the day? That was my big thing. Like execution.
Right.
And yeah, it turns out that my execution was better on that day than everyone else's, so it worked out.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you prefer a meet or a race where people are racing rather than a time trial where everyone just goes all out. Because like I feel like, and I've said this a bunch on the show, we're kind of losing that in the sport. Everyone's so focused on running fast that we're kind of losing. That's why I love watching those like championship style races where like time means nothing. It's about placing and like learning how to race and running from the front, running from the back. I feel like now it's just how fast can everyone run in every race, and everyone's just happy based on their time, not on where they actually place. Have you noticed that?
100%. Yeah, dude, this whole indoor season, like there was all these crazy times going down. And it was like, oh, like this 352 miler, like, yeah, he's not making the final. And it's not because he's not a good athlete. It's because he's not practicing the skill set that you need to be good in a championship environment. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Being able to know how to make decisions when there's no pacer for the first half of the race, when the pace changes can be super variable. Yeah. Those are all things that you need to work on. And, you need to have the fitness to do it. And sometimes that people reflect that through how fast they can run in a time trial. Yeah, ultimately, you can be a couple seconds slower than your opponents and still beat them just because your execution on the day and your championship racing style is more polished.
Yeah, honestly, I personally think it's harder to race than it is to just say, all right, we're all just going to go fast. Like that's just who's more fit, but not who's the better racer or who's the better technician. Like I don't care what it says. Matti Erickson might have run the slowest time to win the Olympics. One of the best races that I've ever seen. It was just a tactician's perfect race when he won. So and he has the Olympic gold medal. Doesn't matter how slow that race was. He has the hardware.
Exactly. Yeah, I watched that race probably once a month, honestly.
But he's a 330 guy, so it's not like it wasn't like he couldn't run fast, right? Like that's the thing. It's not like if he was like a 337 guy and like okay, he was just snuck in there, but like Matti Centrich's legitimately one of the fastest guys to ever run a 1500. So it's not like he couldn't have mixed it up, but they did make a mistake of just letting him be there. So yeah, you said you watched that race. Does that give you the kind of the strategy? Because I could imagine like the juxtaposition between watching Matti win that and then Cole win the way he did, it was like two completely different races where you have Yard and Kerr just trying to murder each other and go get a world record. And, not Yard, I mean, Jakob and Kerr. Yeah. And then Yard and Cole just really trying to work their asses off to stay there. And then with 150 to go, I think both of them realizing like,
we're going to get past
Jakob are
passed on the inside
slowing down. Like we can go get something here. Like if there was 10 more meters, Nagus is in second place. Like it's wild to watch that race. So,
and Kessler might have got Jakob too.
Possibly. Hobbs needs to pick a race though. He needs to focus on one. Like Hobbs is so good. He's so good. Like he's becoming like the 800, 1500 good runner. That's great. But like, they're getting so stacked. Hobbs needs to pick a race. I think Hobbs will be a stud in either the 15 or the 8, whatever he picks.
15.
So I know he's better in the 15, but whatever the hell he picks, damn it. So
I mean, he's a 143 guy too. So he's still great.
You're an NIL athlete.
That's right.
What was that process like? Because in track and field, they are starting to get more. You're seeing a lot more at the high school level. These NILs getting thrown at the high school kids.
High school level too.
What was that like? Number one, do you have an agent that goes out and seeks it? Is somebody calling you going, hey, we're interested? Is it kind of mutual? How did it at least work out for you? It's probably different from everyone. How did it work out for you in order to secure your NIL deal?
First of all, I don't have an agent, but I am looking for one. So if any agents are listening to this, I can give you my phone number or something.
We'll see. If we know anyone, we'll hook it up. Darren, if you're listening, let's get some agents. Darren Peters at USATF. He knows like everyone. Let's get some connections, Darren. If you're still listening, let's get Matti an agent.
Keep winning national titles. It'll take care of itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah. So something I always say is when you are at Oregon, that helps a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I didn't get this NIL necessarily because I was a better runner than, like, I'm not more deserving than anyone else who has gotten one. Really, it was my connection with Jerry and his belief in me that got this. So I got a phone call from him last summer, probably in around this time last year. And he just said, hey, like, I just got off the phone with one of the main contacts at Agent Paul, and he's looking to give you some money and some gear to be affiliated with the brand. And what he told me was, like, hopefully this will turn into Meb's brother and Ray Flynn. Yeah. I just talked to Howie the other day, actually. But
so there you go. So Darren listening, Darren coming in the clutch. Darren, you're the man. Thank you.
But yeah, so for me, it just kind of fell in my lap. My relationship with Jerry, being affiliated with Oregon, huge close ties with Nike. And so that's how that played out. I didn't sign, the biggest deal by any means. It was more just putting a pen on paper that I want to have a relationship with Nike going forward, and starting those conversations with the people that I need to be having it with.
So it's Nike being smart, going, we see Matti might end up being a really good pro. Let's lock him in now before Brooks or anybody else gets a hold of him.
or they're like, listen, in Jerry, we trust. This guy's not going to steer us wrong. He knows what he's looking for. If he vouches for this kid, then I mean.
But here's also one thing, though.
He's coaching one of our teams, so he's.
But
he's the man.
Never say that you're not deserving, right?
Of
because
course.
You are what somebody's willing to pay you, willing to do for you, right? Because you know what? You're out there the one getting it. So never shortchange yourself. You're a freaking national champion. And then it's not like you were a fluke national champ. You were the national runner-up in a close-ass race come out there the very next season, right? So don't shortchange yourself, man. Like, you are absolutely deserving as a prominent national figure in track for an NIL deal, man. And so don't do that.
And in this sport, more than any other sport, you got to use every connection that you have, because it's a sport that is just kind of like, it's a free for all in a sense. Like, get what is yours and get it while you can.
I was going to say, though, is you nailed the hammer on the head there. Is, I had some great success this season. This NIL deal happened before all that.
Sure.
I ran 145, but missed indoors and outdoors last season. Did not attend either of the national meets. Ended up being third at the Canadian Olympic trials.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you look at my resume at the time, and it's like they took a bit of a gamble on me. And why did they take that gamble? Because Jerry vouched for me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He probably has the pull to say, like, this kid has something in him. Like, yeah, maybe his resume isn't that crazy right now, but just trust me.
I watch him train every day. I know what he's going to be.
Yeah. So they took a gamble, and I guess that gamble paid off pretty quick.
Hell yeah, it did. I could say it. Hell yeah, it paid off. You could be humble. I could not be humble for you. It absolutely paid off.
and yeah, so the guys at Nike have been great. That the support that I've felt from them, even as probably one of their lesser athletes in terms of at least what I'm getting paid from them, it means a lot to me. I'm super, super thankful of all the support, all the gear and all the connections, and just the trust that they believe in me as an athlete. That it means a lot to me. And so I've been super happy with that decision so far.
I mean, you're a college athlete getting paid, man. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's something I never thought. Dave and I probably never thought we'd see. No. Like, college athletes who used to get paid illegally. Like, you are legally getting paid. Like, that's dope. That it doesn't matter what the sum is. It doesn't matter if it's like $1,000 a week. It's time to be alive.
What a time to be a good runner now. Like, that there's so many things that are just coming up for you guys. That's why we have to keep this momentum going and just keep the sport like in the forefront.
Exactly.
So, speaking of momentum, you are coming off your best season, right? Obviously, Olympics are around the corner. Worlds are coming up, right? What's your plan coming up for that, right? Obviously, Team Canada is a real possibility. You're running fast. Obviously things are a little different with Worlds, right? Like, you need to now start going to some of these meets to get your world ranking points up, right? Like, that's got to be part of it, right? So what is your, obviously Canadian Nationals are coming up soon and things like that. What are your future plans in terms of Worlds and then Olympics, and what is all that looking like for you?
Yeah, so I hit the world standard this year. The way that the Canadian qualifications work is it's just not that deep in Canada compared to the US. So if you hit the world standard and you're qualified to go for Worlds, no matter where I finish at the Canadian trials, so long as three people
who have the
who
standard
are
don't beat you.
qualified or have the standard beat me, like let's say I get 8th, but the 7 people who beat me don't have the standard and are not qualified.
You're in.
Also,
Yep.
That's awesome.
and as of right now, there's only 3 people who are either in the world ranking or have the standard, and one of them is the reigning champ, so he doesn't get included in that equation. Like we technically can send 4 athletes in the men's 8 to Worlds this year, so I have a very good chance of making that team this summer.
That's fantastic.
You know, I'm not saying that I want to go out and get 8th in the final. I have my aspirations are to be very competitive in that final in 2 weeks. I feel like I'm in good shape. I feel like I'm racing really well. The top guy, Marco, tough task there. Trying to beat him.
I mean,
I think that he could potentially break the world record, if not in London, that diamond.
I think there's 3 or 4 guys now who have a shot to go under 140, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he ran 141.2 in the Olympic final with no pacers.
I know.
Running in lane 3 for half the race, and he negative split in a full second.
We talk about that race also, where like, you know, like you get 4th place, you run 141, you don't even medal. Like it's
Bryce Hoppel
ridiculous.
gets 4th. Yeah, setting the American record by a lot. So the thing is, too, for you, someone that obviously enjoys racing more than time trialing, are you kind of licking your chops to have Marco Arap in the race going, I'm going to freaking run fast? Like, I know, like, is that the type of race where you're looking at it going, I know Marco's not going to take it easy just because, like, he's kind of guaranteed, right? He's going to go out, he's going to run a 142. Like, he's going to run fast. Is that something that you're kind of, obviously the progression that you've made has been big. You ran the world standard. Like, are you looking at it going, all right, time to shatter the world standard in 2 weeks and really get my name into that world stage? Like, is that something you're excited for?
I am licking my chops for this one. You know, I've been trying not to spill it, but you know, training's been going really well. That race that I ran, maybe people see it as a big breakthrough. I see it as more of like a starting point for this season. And, you know, maybe that will end up being the fastest I run this season. If that is the case, it'll be a bit of a shame because I probably threw away some good fitness. But yeah, going into this national meet, the other thing is I heard that Marco's potentially doubling or potentially maybe even just doing the 1500 because he doesn't.
That's what I heard too, because he's already in the
exactly.
8.
So if that does happen, then it's like, oh man, like now I'm vying for a national title. And if that's the case, you know, again, I'm licking my chops. These are the opportunities that I'm looking for. Running fast is great, but, you know, national champion, national runner-up, world qualifier, beating names is really what I'm looking for. When you can go out and beat top quality athletes,
sure,
like that is what suggests, like, okay, you are ascending to this level that is more established than just running a world standard or running whatever it may be. So,
I love how hungry you are.
Licking my chops and excited for the world championships as well. You know, Jerry and I have a plan set in place, and it probably will shift between now and then, but just excited. You know, it's nothing but opportunity. I'm looking at this the same way I looked at the indoor meet, which was I'm a relatively small name compared to some of the other people in this field, have a slower PB than pretty much everyone. So let's just go out and see what I can do. I have literally nothing to lose.
Now,
don't let him in. That's the theme. Don't let him in.
Now, have you found it difficult as a college kid, knowing that the Worlds are in September? Has that kind of had to change how you've, because, you know, in past years, your season would probably almost be over now. So, like, have you had to kind of change things up knowing that you're going so much later?
And we've seen it have kind of an effect. Like, obviously, like Abby Steiner's legs got tired, right? Parker maintained, but still Parker looked tired. Parker Valby towards the end, right? So
it's hard for college kids.
It's a lot. You're running. God, you got to be near a race like 50 right now. Like between XC, indoor, outdoor. Like probably not even kidding. You have a lot of races on your legs. You say you feel great. Is there anything at all in the back of your head going, I got to run 2 more fast races, like, and then more? Like that's a lot of racing. And I mean, so. Is it more just trusting your training, or is that at all creeping in?
It has a little bit, just because I know that that's happened in the past to other athletes. And so I know it's a reality. You know, I could get to September and just feel burnt out and tired. And it's like, shoot, like maybe I missed a window to run fast. Something that I feel like we've done really well this year is adjusted training so that I'm peaking in the right times. I had a little bump for indoors, had a little bump for outdoors. I'd honestly say that because I had a little illness, training wasn't going completely perfect at the start of the spring. I wasn't quite where I wanted to be for NCAAs, but also a part of that is we were doing so much strength work at that time of the year that because I knew that my season was probably going to go till September, right?
Yeah.
If I was hammering speed in February and March and April and May and June, is like I would have been burnt out at this point in the season. But the way that we set it up, and Jerry's been so good with this, is we've been doing a lot of 1500 specific stuff. We've been doing a lot of threshold stuff, just keeping myself fresh, keeping training interesting, knowing that if I can run well at NCAAs on the strength stuff, once we really touch the speed and we're doing 800 specific work, like I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I can imagine Jerry had a few of you doing that with a bunch of you, a bunch of the Americans trying to go to USATFs too. Like, so like you were alone. You had a nice training group of guys all with the same goal. And especially because, I didn't know that the Canadian Nationals was the same exact weekend as the American Nationals. So it probably made the setup for training for you guys much easier for Jerry, knowing I could do the same exact progressions for this group of guys.
Yeah, exactly.
We have one more comment here from Darren Peters.
So Darren saying, make sure you talk to Oregon alum Mac Flea. Oh, where'd it go? Dave, put it back. Oregon alum Mac Flea at Sidious Mag about setting your life up to be successful after track. Yes. Current Canadian rankings are Matti Erickson, Abdullah Hassan, all have the world. So that's awesome. That you're, and that has to be cool seeing your name like we're right there. Like that's fun. It's like the name in the lights, but instead it's on a comment and talking.
So have you?
So
have you thought about maybe what you want to do after college is over? I mean, you kind of have I'm sure you have tons of options being out there with who your coach is now. Like, have you kind of thought about what you want to do, or are you just solely focused on this is it now? I don't really that'll happen when it happens.
It's been a mix of both. I feel like I've been trying to keep myself in the moment. But I also want to set myself up correctly so that when I'm done with college, it's going to be a really easy transition. Because ultimately, I want to be a really good pro, and I want to minimize the amount of transition period that it takes to go between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think that I have some ideas of where I want to be. Obviously, Jerry's a professional coach; he's affiliated with Nike.
He is.
It's an easy decision on that front. Have I been considering other places? Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, you'd be foolish not to, right? At least look everywhere, right?
Exactly.
Like, you got to do that.
Yeah. I feel like I'd do myself a disservice if
I don't think Jerry would disagree with you, at least doing your due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. My Nike NIL is not a pro contract afterwards or anything like that. Like I only signed up until my amateur eligibility expires.
Okay.
So I would assume that doing my due diligence of just going through other companies and seeing what they are willing to offer and what the setup would be. But I haven't made any set decisions on what that looks like.
Sure.
But what I do know is that Jerry's system's been working for me. We have a good crew of pros in town right now that would be great training partners. And I've liked the system a lot. I trust what we do here.
Yeah, you are seeing more so now the college coach also having their own pro team. We see it at BYU with the women, it's an easy transition. We were talking, we had Megan Hunter on the show, she wasn't really sure, but that was certainly an option for her, was to go into her coach's pro team, after she's done. So it's cool that you guys are having these options that are more readily and easily available. And, that you can just talk to your own coach if you want to do that. So it's cool that some of these coaches are going into both. Have you noticed any of a distraction with that on the college level? Because of, your coach is kind of doing so many things?
Actually, no, I'd say it's the other way around. The pros are a little bit distracted because Jerry's given so much time to the college guys. He's just a busy person. You know what I mean? I don't see him every day, but I see him.
How the hell does he recruit as well? That's got to be insane. His delegation skills have to be incredible.
We have an assistant, Chris, who helps with recruiting. And then, we have great directors of ops for the team as well.
Yeah.
But
here's how you recruit. You say, I'm at Oregon. That's it.
there's more that goes into it than just that.
I know, but
That does help though. You know what I mean? Like having Hayward as a draw helps a lot. But it's not
Cole Hawker and like 2 of the last couple Olympic champs in the 1500, they both went here.
And you see the Canadian champion from this past nationals, Matti Erickson. Yeah, he's one of my guys.
That actually reminds me of a tweet I saw. I don't know who it was. Maybe someone on Sidious Mag, but it was like a tweet right after Cole won the Olympic title last year, and it was the drought is over. Like, because it had been like what 8 years since Matt won in 2016. Yeah. And so it's like the drought's over. Like finally, the Ducks have another champion.
Oh, finally!
It took long enough, right? Damn it!
So the Oregon drought is the same as pretty much the American drought. So any American who wins it, I guess, had to have gone to Oregon.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Nathan Green said recently that UW is mile U right now, and he's probably true there in the NCAA. But
they are loaded.
I mean, how many Olympic champs do they have?
Oh man, I love that. That like burning rivalry is still there. It's amazing.
Bring it.
So here's a question off of track. What's your college major?
So I'm a math major. I study mathematics at the University of Oregon.
Smart man. Nice STEM degree and things like that. So
yeah,
you'll have something always to fall back into.
I wanted actually to go into engineering in college, but Oregon we don't really have an engineering degrry you can take.
And that's so hard
it's such a major
for an
university.
athlete. It's
such
a demanding major that I know people who've gotten into that, and they almost got to a point where they almost had to choose: do I want to keep running or don't? Because it's such a detailed major with so much work. So,
but honestly, yeah. So it was like, okay, engineering's not an option. I was maybe going to do physics, but again, like the labs were just like so time consuming during the week, and so I thought like, what's the hardest thing I can do that isn't so time consuming that I just have to miss like half the classes or labs? And so that's how I just went into mathematics. I'm doing a teaching track right now. So the goal would be to become a high school teacher, maybe
join us,
depending on
that's
how much.
What I do. I'm a high school teacher and coach. So join us. We need, so many people in the sport.
After having a decade-long pro career, at least a minimum decade-long, successful 10-year pro career where you are set and you could just go be a teacher for fun and a coach for fun. Like that's what do it later. But no, that's awesome. And that had to be difficult to pick too, because knowing like I'm going to have to miss a ton of classes because I'm traveling here and there. And I can imagine if you're a professor at Oregon, you understand like, it's a major school.
I would just wear that gold medal in the class. Like, this is where I was. This is where I was.
Did you wear the indoor medal to the next class just to be like,
What's funny was we're on a trimester or quarter system. So our term ends like I took my math final was like 3 days after I got back from indoors. Just like
welcome back.
And I had missed like essentially like I think I did the math. It was like 50% or more of the classes that term I missed.
That's a lot of self-discipline, right? Making up that work and things like that.
And my teacher was like the best. I nominated him this year put up my vote in for best teacher of the year because he was just so awesome with all the class I missed. And yeah, after that that math final, I hadn't seen him in like 2 weeks, but we have a very good relationship. And so we've been talking outside of class. And he just came up to me once I finished the exam and he goes, "So did you win?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "So are you going to the Olympics?" I said, "We'll see. Like, I don't know." But that was a good memory. That was a lot of fun.
Hey, that's the expectation. If you're good in Oregon, you go to the Olympics, right? Like that's just that's it. So Coach Torchia over here. So Matti, Carl Torchia is one of the most successful coaches in high school in New Jersey history. Christian Brothers Academy coach, amazing coach. He has
over 50 state titles.
Over 50 state titles. Yeah. And he's amazing in Jersey. He's a legend. How was your time progression from pre-high school through now? So yeah, where'd you start? Where have you been? Where'd it go? So kind of give us the rundown of what it took you in the 8.
So something I pride myself on is getting a little bit better each and every year. Nick Simmons has this great quote where he says, the metaphor is if you're wanting to get better, it's like you're climbing a ladder. And each rung on the ladder represents a jump. And sometimes you can take huge jumps, but what he says is no matter what happens, you're always going to hit every rung on the ladder. So if you jump up 3 rungs, you'll probably end up falling back down 2 eventually.
That's awesome.
So you can either go like slow and steady, or you can take huge jumps. So if you pull up my World Athletics, I think it starts my 8th grade year, 2017. I ran 159.5 or 0.6 or something like that.
And that's insane in
8th grade
to run a 159, and then like
especially training where he trained. Like he didn't have, you know.
And I'll tell you right now, the moment you did that, Oregon was like, we're looking at that kid. Like, we have Clark Kent from Smallville. Let's have him take his glasses off when he gets over here and be Superman. Like, that's what they were thinking.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably peaked in the 8th grade just because I was like so undeveloped. I was still like prepubescent. I was maybe like 5'5", like 125 pounds. So I look back and I'm like, man, how the hell did I run sub 2 in the 8th grade?
Awesome.
But so yeah, 8th grade 159, 9th grade was 156.6, I want to say. And then 10th grade, I ran 153.8 to win the U18 Canadian National Championships.
That's awesome.
So dropped a lot of time those first 3 years or 4 years. Junior year was COVID. So I don't have an official time on my World Athletics. I didn't technically run any races. I ran 154.0 in like a solo time trial at like our local track. So that was maybe the 1 year was like, okay, I didn't technically get better on paper.
And you're getting closer to that magic number.
Your local track that is 2 hours away.
Yeah, we had to drive 90 minutes.
And you're getting closer to that magic number of 150, right? And it just, as you realize, it gets harder and harder and it's so funny with track. It's like, it's hard to break the threshold, but then when you break thresholds, you kind of never go back, right? Yeah, exactly. Once you break 150, it's like, okay, my legs just automatically know how to run sub 150 now. Like it's really cool. So keep going. I'm loving this.
Yeah. So 154 my junior year in that time trial. What was really unfortunate was I probably could have run like, if you look at just my progression, the way things have been going, and I had a good training block. I probably was in like 151 to 152 shape.
Even when you have no one to compete against, like you had no one to compete against.
Yeah, literally, I was
solo. And it's COVID.
Like myself and my coach at the track, and no one else. Like, you know what I mean? So
that's a great effort. As a 16, 17-year-old to go just run a 154 just because it's a random Wednesday, like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's literally what I think. It was like a random Wednesday we did it.
Yes, I got it right.
After driving 90 minutes to your local track.
But then so my senior year pretty much missed everything up until I opened my season in like late June.
Wow.
So like right as school was ending, kind of more of a summer season. Mm-hmm. I ran 153 to open my season. So it was like, I think I PB'd. It was like 153.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next race, the next time I ran an 800, I think I ran 150.1.
That's
quite not just 150.8, like 150.1. And that's 3 seconds there. That's awesome.
It was a pretty big jump. And actually at the time there was, because it was the BC championships for like the club championships. So you're affiliated with the club outside of your high school. Mm-hmm. The way that we had it set up was it was the under 20/senior BC championships.
It's the same way America does nationals. Like you don't go for your high school, you have a club for your high school. It's the same exact thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So they combined it though. So it was U20 and senior. And so I technically won the BC senior championship that year. And I took down I think it was like a 339 1500 guy at the time. Ooh. So I was really pleased with that race.
Hell yeah.
And then went on at World Juniors. I think I ran like 152 or something like that, but it was like 6,000 feet. Pretty late in the season. It's just not my best day. You know what I mean?
No, and kind of like Nick Simmons said, you had skipped that rung.
Yeah.
By running, so you kind of went back to the natural progression. You had that one maybe it was an outlier at that time race, but then you were kind of back to where maybe you should have been.
So jumping in real quick, we mentioned Aaron Brown. He's coming in. He's throwing in the GOAT logo for you right here, and now he's saying solo 154 pre-super spikes equals 149. I could believe that. That's not that's not
especially as a
16-year-old pre-super spikes. That's not honestly out of the realm of possibilities. So Aaron, thank you. We appreciate you watching, brother. So keep it up. I love this progression.
Yes. The day that I ran, or the next day after I ran 150, I also ran the 1500 at that meet. And we ran 355 that day to win, but it was a 54 flat close.
Wow. So I was a championship race to a T.
Yeah,
That was
pretty sharp on that day.
There were no Pacers in that one.
Yeah, no paces there either. Just
or you ignored them. Like that's like I always love watching those races where they're like the pacer's going to go out at this
Where the
pace,
pacer goes
and then
out.
they're gone, and everyone's just like, "What the hell did we hire a pacer for?" Like,
Yeah,
I hope they still get paid. We didn't do anything. Like, I love watching those.
But anyways,
So you're at 150
keep going.
senior year.
So my very first collegiate 100-meter race was in Chicago, my freshman year indoors. First time I break 150, 149.9.
It still counts, damn it.
It
counts.
Indoors.
Almost took down Cole that day. He had just ran they took a American record attempt in the mile the night before.
Yeah.
And then Ben threw them in for he threw Cole in for some extra just training, I guess. He just wanted Cole to like sit in the back and just close like crazy. And I threw down like the way the race went, it was like 55 point through 400. Oh, wow. And then I threw down like a 26 flat third 200 to just like gap the field and just couldn't hold on. He got me for like that much of the line, but that was a good memory.
Nothing wrong with losing to Cole Hawker.
Did he look at you after that and be like, "Good try, freshman," and then just keep it moving?
No, we didn't really say much, but definitely shook hands and we're joking.
A little respect, right? You went for it.
Yeah. But then, so yeah, 149 indoors, 148.2 ended up running that outdoor season as a freshman. Third at conference. I missed nationals by like 2 spots, I think it was, or maybe 3 spots. And then the next year, so my sophomore year, that's where I picked up a little injury indoors. So maybe I ran 150, but hurt myself like almost in that race.
Yeah.
And then outdoors, I ended up running 146.8.
Wow.
My sophomore year, making nationals, got bounced in the first round at NCAAs. But that was a big jump for me, so I was happy with that.
And a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
That was like your first time. It's like,
huge.
Okay, I have to run fast 2 days in a row again. Like this is, it's new, and everyone here is fast. Like, very big difference.
That was my first time lining up against like the best in the NCAA, and so it was,
it
was just tough. Not my best day, but was happy with the season as a whole. The next year, so next indoor season, I ran 147.9 indoors and missed NCAAs. And there was a lot of shit that happened that season that I wish I could have done differently. Because I probably was in shape to qualify for NCAAs, and it just
we all have those
and
crazy
junior
seasons,
year,
like, man, like nothing
junior year
is going
such
right.
a weird year too, right? Because like you're expected to be in all these big meets, but at the same time, you're like not too far removed from still being like a sprite, right? Like junior year is the year where you're expected to now become one of those leaders, jump in, do all these big things. But there's still a boatload of seniors right ahead of you, right? And so it's like the expectations levels raised. It's such a bizarre time to be around.
Yeah. And what was tough was I was getting beat like left and right in all these races, workouts, because I had picked up a little injury in the fall. Like I wasn't as consistent quite as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I was just coming back from that for the indoor season and then an outdoor season. But yeah, it's just a tough jump. But I ended up running, I think, about the same outdoors. Like I was in a bunch of like non-paced races where I ran like 147. My worst race to my best race was never that big. It was like the slowest I ran my junior year was like 148 low, but the fastest I ran was like 147 high. And ultimately I ended up getting bounced from regionals, which was just like, that was the low point in my running career. Like that happened to me, and I just had to take a double take of like, do I really want to keep doing this? Like it.
And how much were you now leaning on, Jerry and your support system? And obviously you're close with Elliot and stuff like that. Like, and Elliot's no slouch himself, right? Monster of a runner too. So
Especially
it's like
he was running lights out at that point in the season.
Yeah, and what is he at? What was he at, a 333 PR? What's his PR right now in the 15? 330.
Yeah, 333.
He's a monster. So it's like, Elliot, if you're watching, you're always welcome to jump on the show. But I mean, so it's like you had that support system there. What was that? Was it really just like leaning on those guys and coach? Like,
yeah, what it was at first, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I kind of questioned whether it was me or whether it was the system at first, because I'd always prided myself on peaking at the right times, and so like throughout the whole year, is like. At first, like, okay, indoors didn't go great. Like, whatever, it's indoors. Outdoors, like, hadn't been going fantastic, but whatever, it's early season. When I didn't make the national meet or regionals, it was like, okay, like something's wrong. Like we weren't peaking when we were supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
double take here. Like I gotta maybe switch something up. But what ended up happening was instead of being down on myself and using that negatively, I tried my hardest to use it positively. You know, I took the added motivation and just doubled down. And the next race I ran was PTF, which was the day after the NCAA finals meet. And I ran a huge PB. I ran 145.7.
There you go. Yeah.
And so it's like I saw that, and I think that would have placed like 4th or 5th at NCAA's.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, damn, like.
But you know what? Sometimes we just need that one last race. Big, all right, the season might not be good, but my training's fine. Like I believe in what I'm doing. So like you said, you were kind of questioning it. You have that race now. You're probably all right. I'm doing the right thing. So that kind of had to help everything going into that next year. Like you didn't leave on that sour note. So running that last race was probably huge just to get everything right in your mind to get ready for that
Exactly.
year.
Honestly, like I was delusional enough that I was still trying to make the Olympic team for Canada, even though like I wasn't even close to the world ranking or the world standard at that point.
But you know what though? You need that goal, right? Because if you're sitting there and just going, oh, well, I know I'm not fast enough to do it. Like you're not going to run that 145, right? Like there's no, your mentality wouldn't be there. So it's like, you need to have those goals. And it's not like you're that far off, right? You're running 146. It's not like you're a scrub. Like you are right there on the cost. So as again, 2 seconds is a lot in 800, but still it's not like you were so far away from it.
Yeah. What ended up happening that season, you're completely right. Like was pretty far off, but I won a big race up in BC, the Harry Jerome Classic, and ran like 146 low. And then I was 3rd at the trials. And so I think that I was like 10 or 12 world ranking spots off of making the team.
Yeah.
So I turned it around pretty quick and ended up having like a great summer. And that played into this year. You know, I took my it was just like trusting the system. Like I saw the way that things didn't go well, and I kind of questioned the system for a second. Like it was like a week maybe. But when things came around, is like that just made me double down. You know, that was like, hey, I really trust this system. I really trust myself as an athlete. I know that if training's going well, like you're gonna have ups and downs in races, but just stay the course, because if things are going well in training, like you will race well.
And I don't think you realize too how important that is for a coach, for Jerry, right? To have now 100%. One of his senior leaders who kind of had a rocky road coming back into fall going, coach, I'm all in. And now truly being able to lead a group of scared freshmen, a group of sophomores looking to take that leap into national level, the juniors, like you're one of the guys, like you are the Cole Hocker to that freshman, right? Like they're coming in looking, going, shit, that's Matti Erickson. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's
the
NCAA champ.
You know, like he's like, you know, he's a big time guy. That's a 146 guy, right? Like they're looking to be you and
representing Canada in the World
buying
Championships, you know?
in. I don't think like, and I don't know if Jerry ever told you this, but just like from me being a coach, Dave being a coach, like when your seniors buy in, and it's obvious, you can tell when people are bought in and when they're not. When your leaders buy in, it changes everything. It changes the dynamic of the team.
True.
And especially like, you know, the distance group where like, so like more than, you know, it's a whole, like, as we are individual, the training is very team, right? So it's like you buying in is massive for you, and definitely massive in terms of having those senior leaders buying in is huge.
100%. Yeah. And I think that you saw it this year. You know, our squad, maybe not our top guys took a pretty big jump too. Elliot was dinged up a little bit, but you know, we had like 10 dudes this year break 4, where in years past it was like maybe 1 or 2 or 3. Everyone was bought into the training because the top guys were bought in, and you saw that all the way through. Like great cross country for us, great indoor season. We won the conference title indoors. And then won the conference title outdoors as well, because all these guys were bought in and everyone was just firing and everyone was on the same page. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that. And to finish up this question, so my final progression was 146, 1-1 indoors this year, and an indoor national title. And then 145, 89 was my season's best from the college season to be runner up at NCAA's. and then 144.49. I just ran that last weekend.
That's a
140. So I mean, like, think about it. 145.8 to 144. That's almost a second and a half jump.
He's
man.
gonna have another one in 2
That's
weeks.
great stuff.
He's going to run. I'm calling at least a 143 in 2 weeks, at least.
I just want to. Is there any part of you that wishes you were born like 20 years ago with what's happening now in the 800 meters, or do you love? I mean, it is. We are at a time now where it is freaking insanity what's going on. Like 142 now is like, all right, nice job. Like everybody runs a 140.
Everyone has the Johnny Gray approach.
Do you like that?
No, I don't
do
see it that way.
Do you like it, or do you like
the way I see it is just
good,
like year to year, generation to generation. Like you're only as good as the people that you're competing against, right? Right now, I think I'm ranked like 40th in the world, maybe something like that, and one of the top guys in the NCAA. I think that the times are independent of that. You know, the racing decisions and how good you are relative to people who have the same training techniques and training access as you. Mm-hmm. That is a good
barometer.
Yeah, barometer of how good you are. And so,
and also, what I've noticed is that, like, yes, people are running faster, but everybody's running faster, because once a few people run faster, then everyone's like, it just this catapult thing. It just
can be
coming
done.
and coming and coming and coming. Like it proves you, like, now that Faith has run 406, we're going to see other women getting under 410, because she's proven that it can be. There always has to be a first person. Like, we're going to see someone break 140, if not this year, coming up soon. But like, it's going to happen. We are at the point where we don't know what the human body is even capable of. And, you know, like with all these shoes and all this technology, we're going to start seeing things that what we didn't think were possible are just going to start to be like 142 is going to be like, okay, nice running, great race, you know, but it's coming.
I love the fact that you were just like, yeah, I think I'm 40th in the world. And it's like, you're not happy with that. And I think that's awesome. I just love seeing like the best, like we've had like some like really good high school athletes too, and like really good collegiate athletes. You guys all have this quiet confidence that, yeah, I'm good, but I want to be better. Like that quiet confidence, and you can see it and you can feel it, and I freaking love it. I just love I'm 40th in the world, and it's like, but I'm not 30th. But I'm also not 20th. I want to be up there and be better, like much better. Like that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, like, and I love seeing people like Maddie's age and the younger Americans who are his age. Like 15 years ago, Americans kind of like, it wasn't possible that you'd be in the 1500 or the 800 meter final.
A few outliers would jump in.
Yeah, a few outliers here and there, you know. But I mean, like, you know, like you had a few people like Bernard, you know, and those guys, but like now, like it doesn't matter. Like the Americans, Canadians, like they're in it with everybody. It's so cool that like we're not having all this diversity from all these different countries now who are meeting, and have the Americans and the Canadians like in those distance events. Like they're no longer just for 2 or 3 countries like we were talking earlier. Like everybody now, because training has gotten so much better, and I think it's because the American athletes are afforded the chance to train after college. They don't have to get a job. Yeah. They're able to like go to these running camps and train with other people. And that's been so huge. Is that scene starting to kind of take over in Canada too, where you're like getting pro teams and more people are kind of training together, or do you guys still have to come over here?
To be honest with you, I've been away from the Canadian scene so long. Plus, like when I was in Canada, I was so far removed from the scene. I don't really know what it's like, to be honest with you. Like I know of a couple squads in and around. I know that there's people that train in Canada.
Is it different when you get closer to the cities, like more like closer to like your like Montreal and stuff like that, and you're in the more metroplexes where it's easier to get these running groups because it's closer? Because again, BC's spread out, Saskatchewan spread out, like, you know, there's a lot of land in Canada, and it's basically, you know, like your Ontario, your Ottawa, like is a little bit more compact, right? So is it definitely more there that you're seeing that scene grow, if it is?
100%. Yeah, there is a great track scene in BC. But it's more like the lower mainland, Vancouver, Burnaby, Surrey,
your cities,
the island. Like I'm from a place where like our hometown, it's like 40,000 people in my hometown.
You're on a mountain,
right? Yeah, exactly. and you go to Toronto, you go to Montreal, you go to Ottawa, you go to the bigger hubs. There's some great track teams there.
It's like any other city, right? Like there's the access and everything like that. So it's definitely going to be there.
Yeah,
so
think of like a Seattle or something like that. Like maybe you don't have like a Brooks Beast set up in Vancouver. But the running there, it's similar in terms of like the general public for sure.
I feel like Canada sports in general is starting to take more of a step up though, because you have like Marco, you have yourself, you have, obviously, and your soccer team is fantastic. Like I think like the experience is what the soccer team needs, because for me, it's like Canada's the class of CONCACAF, even more than Mexico and United States. Like a lot of good players there. So I feel like in general, like Canadian sports outside of Canada, like outside of hockey, I feel like more of you guys are starting to spread out a little more. Like the CFL is obviously popular. You got a lot of good football players in Canada too, and things like that. So I love seeing what our neighbors to the north are doing. I eventually want to get you dual citizenship because I want you running for us, damn it. But no, go represent your country. I love it. So I want to get to this last question because you've been awesome with your time for us. Coach Georgia coming in saying you're 800 so fast. What do you think you could run in an open 400? So I looked up your World Athletics. Is your 400 still like an open 47, like 47 in what you were able to run, or have you ran faster than that?
Yeah, so I did that this May. I just set a 400 PB. It was right before conference. I ran 47.0. I pretty much did it like completely solo. It was like a random home meet.
Yeah.
Did it in dragonflies, and I did it without blocks.
Jesus.
So I think that also right now I'm just in better shape.
No blocks and in dragonflies. Okay.
You could probably break 47.
If you were to line me up in a competitive 400 meter race, I'm 46.8, let's say. If I were to run sub 47 is probably a good indication of where I'm at. We kind of hit the 8 from like the high and the low. So I have decent 400 meter speed, not amazing. There's guys with better speed than me. I ran 340 for the 1500 this spring.
Nice.
Probably at some point throughout the spring, I was in like 338 shape.
It's good stuff.
And so it's like, again, not amazing, not super competitive, but competitive enough that when you combine those two attributes, you make a pretty good 800.
But it's not your focus, right? So it's like you're focusing on the 8. I'd imagine if you focused on the 15, like you'd be running your 335, right? Like if you focused on that, you have the ability, but it's where you're focusing. So I love that. You have good range, and appreciate you jumping on here and giving us your time, man. I want to ask you just one last question that we ask all of try to ask a bunch of our athletes, and considering you're about to step into the realm of pros, it's going to be relevant to you. So we've talked a little bit about the pro scene and how the money isn't there a lot, right? Outside of some of the top earners, like your Noahs, your Sydneys and things like that, they obviously make a decent amount of money, but there's a ton of pros that are really good that are volunteering as coaches at schools just so they can get access, right? And things like that. Barely making enough ends meet to pay for a coach and rent and stuff. So if you had a magic wand and you can change anything about the sport of track and field that would bring in more fans, that would make it so that our pros are making some money and there's a profitable sport there, what would you change about the sport to get that happening? Man, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, pulling from my experience, I'd say like, don't expect anything to be given to you. Like as an athlete, first and foremost, like you need to make sure that you are doing as much as you can to be optimizing yourself as an athlete. I think that our sport is at its best when the athletes are at their best. When magical moments happen, it's when you're at the pinnacle of the sport. Your top athletes making top plays. Yep. If I could wave my wand, maybe just like more viewership. I know that when you're at meets and there's just a crazy atmosphere and the stadium's loaded, like special things happen. Like people rise to the occasion for the fans. I've experienced it at NCAA meets. I've experienced it at Olympic trials.
You said the conference meet, right? In Big Tens,
exactly.
Right? Like that gave you so much spirit.
Who would have thought that was the most fun meet I've been at this year. But just that might be it. It's just like bigger outreach to fans. Yeah. And it's not like something that I hate is people like expecting fans to want to watch track. I understand it. I don't watch every track meet and I run the sport. You know what I mean?
They are long.
Well, like, why should I be interested in Matti Erickson racing? What is the reason why I want to go see Matti Erickson race? Like, we do have to market ourselves, right? You know what I mean? Like, we have to make people interested.
Exactly. But yeah, if magically you could somehow create like
buzz
hype around it so that there's more people coming to races and just bigger crowds and a better environment.
Sure.
That'd be really awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
I like it.
You said, like we've heard, get it on free TV, get it off of a paywall, put it on FanDuel, put it on DraftKings, like get people to like other sports, make a league where there's teams. Cause in America, we love teams. We love our team sports,
Mm-hmm.
Sports betting is something that you touched on there. I actually do like that idea. I kind of think of it like horse racing. You know what I mean? Like horse
That's
racing
what he
is so
said.
popular.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, like you're able to bet on it. I think track's super similar. Like it's super variable. Like it's so hard to bet on because people have good races and bad races.
You also don't have to know the athletes. You could just see what they've done in the last 3, 4, 5 races to make these bets, especially if you're boxing it out, trifecta, and things like that. So no, I've said that many a times, and I agree with you. So, all right, Matti, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you coming on. You're fantastic. I think your career is bright. I joke that I want to see you in a USA uniform, but I mean, if you are in a race and I'm watching you kick the hell out of some USA people in that Canada uniform, I'm going to be rooting for you, man. I will. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to have a great career. So once again, he's Matti Erickson. He is 800-meter indoor champion, fantastic personality. I think things like this too, like I hope that people can watch this and just see that you have this awesome story where you weren't handed a bunch of stuff as a high school kid. You worked your ass off. You weren't a full scholarship athlete at Oregon. You worked your tail off to get everything. And again, I think the theme of today, don't let him in. Don't let him in. Like, I'm going to be excited when we're watching Worlds and all of a sudden it's like
the last qualifier to make
Yanni and Arip and Hoppel and,
our last qualifier
and just sneaking in from the prelims is, University of Oregon standout and, fresh face to Canada, Matti Erickson. And then boom, all of a sudden, here goes Matti running a freaking 141 and winning and taking another 10 steps up that ladder. Like, I'm pumped. I'm in my little like fantasy bubble. And Matti's like, please let this be true. So
I know that. Fingers crossed.
Don't let him in.
Fantastic. Making a final this year would be really special. So
love it.
Let's get it. So like I said, once again, he's Matti Erickson. You can go follow him on X at Matti Erickson. Go exactly that. You can follow him on Instagram at Matti Erickson with 2 N's at the end because I assume somebody already had Matti Erickson. We need to find out who that is. Kick them out of there because you're
trying to get that handle going of just 1 N, but haven't been able to do it yet.
Can we find out who that is? Like, and we'll send them a message and be like, we'll send you $20. Just give it.
I've been trying to search it up actually, but I can't find it on Instagram.
Contact Instagram's like send the thing like that, like the contact email stuff, and just be like, hey, I want this username. I don't see a user with it because it might be a dead username and you might get it. Because I honestly did that when I was trying to do Talking in Ovals and get onto, I think it was Twitch or Kick because it's pretty new that we're on those. It wasn't letting me get it. And I looked and nobody has Talking in Ovals. Like, I searched it. No one does this. We're the only one that thought of this pun. And so I messaged with the contact and I did not think anyone was going to get back to me. Within 10 minutes, I got an email back and like we had a few back and forths and they're like, okay, the username's yours.
Oh man.
So
I gotta do that.
Go see if Instagram, and I know it's Meta. Meta kind of sucks with that, but you might be able to get that. Well, no, I'm sorry, Meta. We're on Facebook. Don't be mean to us. But but you might be able to get lucky and just be like, hey, is this a dead username? Like, can you give me that? So we might be getting an update on your username on Instagram. But go follow them over there. Once again, we're Talking in Ovals. We'll be back in a few nights on Monday. We'll be back for our regular show. And but again, we appreciate you jumping on tonight. It was awesome.
To every kid out there who's listening to Matti talk, like he just went over his whole progression. You keep working hard. It is out there. This is a sport where you can improve if you do the right things. And he's like, he didn't have, even a track growing up. He made it and he did, but he worked hard and he listened to his coaches. And that's how you get better in the sport. It doesn't it's a sport where work does matter. What you put into it, you can get back. Yes, talent helps. You're not just going to go run 144. Matt has extreme talent, but he worked to put himself in that place where his talent can come through. So kudos to you, man. I'm pumped. And I still think you're very untapped. You're still really new to this sport, and have already accomplished so many things. I think that the world is about ready to see exactly who you are. And it's
I call this when you're an Olympic champion. I call like the following few weeks you're jumping back on the show. Like we're demanding that. So Olympic Worlds, like that's a demand. You're coming back on, damn it. And you're gonna show us that medal. But and I can't wait to like when you're an old man and you have grandkids and they're running track and they're complaining, you're going to be like, well, I didn't even have a track. And look what I was able to do. Get back out there. Like, I love it. So we'll be back next week. Go find us anywhere you can find a podcast. Just go search Talking in Ovals.
Thanks,
All
guys.
socials, we're there. So we're out of here. We appreciate the chat. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Aaron, for commenting. You guys are awesome. And we'll be back on Monday. So long, y'all.